Hey guys, so like I said last week, this week we're going to be making strawberry oatmeal bars. My family eats these for breakfast, but they're perfect for snacks and even on the go because you can just grab it out of the fridge and walk out the door. So the ingredients that you're going to be needing are 2 sticks of butter, and I've just sliced them up. You want 1.5 cups of flour, 1.5 cups of quick oats, 1 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then I just use a standard 20-ounce size container of strawberry jelly. To get started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flour and I'm going to go ahead and add in my quick oats to that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in the brown sugar and my salt and my cinnamon and my baking powder. So basically we're adding everything in together except for the butter and the jelly. And I'm just gonna take a whisk and I'm just gonna mix this all up real good here. Just to make sure that that brown sugar doesn't have any clumps to it and everything is mixed together. That's good enough. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take my butter and I'm just gonna use the utensils that God gave me, use my hands, and the warmth of my hands is going to help break up this butter, but we're basically just gonna put it in and kind of mush the butter into our mixture here, and it's gonna create kind of like a streusel topping. So I'm just gonna put one little piece of butter in at a time and just kind of mash it together. And that's really about it. Okay, so I'm going to add in my last piece of butter here, but I wanted to show you guys kind of the consistency that you're wanting. You don't want to overmix this, but what you want is you want it to be very kind of wet and crumbly, and like if you squeeze it, it stays together, but as you kind of break it apart, it's still in those crumbs. That's exactly what you want. So I'm going to go ahead and get this last piece mixed in here. Keep it crumbly. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and press this into our 9x13 pan. Alright, so now what I'm doing is I'm just putting about half of my mixture into the bottom of my 9x13 pan. I do put parchment paper in here, and I also grease the parchment paper, because what happens is when we bake these, we're going to pull them out and you're going to use the overlap of this parchment paper to be able to pull the strawberry oatmeal bars out of the pan. Once they're completely cooled. So I'm just putting my about half of it, like I said, down in the bottom of my pan, and I'm pressing it down lightly to create the crust of our bars. And now I'm just placing my strawberry jelly on top, and I'm just going to use this rubber spatula to spread it over the crust layer that we created. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be completely even, but you just want to get it spread out all over this crust layer. Alright, now that we have that all spread out, I'm just going to take the remaining of my oatmeal mixture, and I'm just going to kind of sprinkle it on top to start. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect or even, because we're going to press it in a little bit here in a minute, but I just want to kind of sprinkle it on. Make sure you get your corners, because this will, as it bakes, the strawberry jelly will kind of bubble up a little bit, so you want to make sure you get those corners so it doesn't come up through everything. And then I'm just going to kind of spread it out a little bit, and then once you feel like you have it spread pretty even, then you just want to lightly press down on it. You don't want to press as hard as we did for our crust, but you do want to just kind of lightly press and make sure that everything is down into that strawberry jelly, sorry. But if you wanted to use grape jelly, you absolutely could. You can use whatever kind of jelly or jam that you guys prefer. Okay guys, so this is what it looks like right before we're going to put it in the oven. I did preheat my oven to 350, and I'm just going to put these in for about 40 to 50 minutes. I would suggest starting at about 40 minutes and then going up in 5-minute intervals after that, but basically you're just looking for the top of your crust to be nice and golden brown. So I'm going to go ahead and throw these in for about 40 minutes to start. Okay. Alright guys, so I just took out my strawberry oatmeal bars from the oven, and while those are cooling I figured I'd show you a really simple dessert. I know if you're like me, at the end of the night when the kids go to bed, you're ready to like treat yourself, and I don't know what else is a better treat than Nutella. So this is really simple. It's only 2 ingredients. You're just going to need a half a cup of Nutella, and then you're going to need 2 eggs, but you're going to want to separate them. So in here I have my 2 egg yolks and then my 2 egg whites. So all we're going to do is take our Nutella and we're going to put it in this bowl here. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in my 2 egg yolks. I'm just going to mix these together. This is really simple. Like I said, it's just the 2 ingredients. And you just kind of mix them together, put it in the oven, bake it, and then you have a really yummy dessert. Okay. So that's good enough. So then we're going to set this aside, and we're going to grab a bowl and our egg whites. And I'm going to put these egg whites in this bowl. And then you can use a hand mixer if you want. I just didn't feel like getting mine out, to be honest. So I'm just going to take a whisk, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to whisk these egg whites until they form stiff peaks. Okay, so if you don't know what a stiff peak is, basically as you're whisking, if you can draw it up and see how it forms, like the stiff peak on my whisk or in the bowl there's a stiff peak, it kind of sticks up. That's what you want. So now that I have that, I'm going to take my Nutella mixture in this, and I'm going to take about 1/3 of this, and I'm going to mix it in to my Nutella mixture. Like so. And you want to keep doing this, folding it in until it is completely mixed in. But you don't want to be too harsh on it because you want to keep the fluffiness from those egg whites. You just want to keep working with it. Keep kind of folding it over. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of my egg whites. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to gently fold them in to that Nutella mixture. And again, you want to make sure that you don't overdo it. You really want to keep the egg whites light and fluffy. So really take your time, be gentle with it. Just keep folding it over and in. Alright, so now that I have that all folded in, it should look something like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it into, I just have a little greased ramekin here, but you can absolutely use like an oven safe mug if that's what you have. I'm just going to pour some of this in here. Okay. And then you want to make sure you don't have any on the edges, just a little tip, because it will make it rise unevenly if it catches anything on the edges. So looks like we're pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the oven at 375. I did preheat my oven earlier, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it in at 375 for about 15 minutes. All right, now we wait. All right, so our oven just beeped. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off and pull it out. There we go. Okay. So this is supposed to be more like a souffle, so it's gonna be a little gooey in the inside, and that looks perfect. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. Okay guys, so this is the strawberry oatmeal bars. I basically just lifted them out using, like I said, the edges of that parchment paper and placed them on my cutting board. And so now what I do is I just slice them into squares and I keep them in the fridge stored. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get them sliced up. Okay guys, so that basically does it for the strawberry oatmeal bars. Like I said, I'll make a pan of these and then my family basically will eat on them for about a week. I just store them in the fridge covered, and it's something that my whole family enjoys, and I know this one can't wait to dig into it, so we'll go ahead and let her have a bite. What do you think?
It's yummy.
Yummy? Alright, so next week we're going to be doing a steak and potato hash. So all of my meat and potato people, I got you. Your week is next week, and I'll see you then. Bye.
Blah, blah.